I now come to the interesting question that is mentioned here. I say interesting because I am perplexed myself, but then I can understand with what meaning, with what perhaps a little of thinking, this question has come to me. The question says, number one, is forgiving and not forgetting what someone has done to us is a sin? Is forgiving and not forgetting what someone has done to us a sin? And the second question is, how can one put across this to the person who has hurt us? It's about forgiving and forgetting. You know, the chapter of Matthew, Gospel of Matthew, chapter 18, I think, verses in that, and also the Gospel of Mark, chapter 11, speaks about forgiveness. Jesus says we have to forgive, and forgive even our enemies. And there is that beautiful parable wherein Jesus gives and says that how we are to forgive. And when the disciples ask him how many times we are to forgive, Jesus says not 7 times but 70 times 7, meaning so we have to go on forgiving. And forgiving should come from our heart. And in that sense, I would say forgiving and forgetting goes together. We can't harbor, we can't outwardly say, I forgive you. But inwardly, I can't say that I have not forgiven you, I can't forget this thing, etc. We cannot say. It goes together. It goes together. In that sense, there is no mention of forgetting as such in the Bible. Forgiving there is. Jesus has not said, forget about it. We are human. We are human, and many times when we are hurt, surely we will forgive, but then it might be difficult to forget. Sometimes, as human nature, it lingers on. When there is a wound here, I can say, I forgive you, but that doesn't mean my wound is healed immediately. It remains, the cut is there, bleeding perhaps also is there, and it might remind me of the harm that was done to me. And so forgetting is not easy, but then it is also included in the forgiving. But I would say forgiving is divine, but not being able to forget is also the human nature. Yeah, it's not human nature, though nothing is written about in the Bible, we try to forget also. And in the second question, I think there is also important to say that how can we put across this to the person who has hurt us? Meaning to say, I can say sorry, I have made a mistake, I ask your forgiveness. At the same time, when you ask me forgiveness, I will surely try to forgive you from my heart. But forgetting is something else. You know what? Sometimes it may happen that a person who asked for forgiveness is not so serious. He says, I am sorry, and you are bound to forgive him. But then his nature may not have changed. The fact that you have forgiven, that he has robbed you, and you have forgiven, that does not mean that you have not to be careful that his weakness may come again, that he may rob you again, that he may defraud you again. Perhaps the human nature is such that he may harm you again. So therefore, I can't suddenly say that I have forgiven you, so they have changed everything else. I have to be prudent, I have to be careful. And in that sense, perhaps God also says that forgiving is important, but if the other person who is not serious enough, perhaps we have to remember that he has this inclination, he has this weakness, we need to help him, but then we don't have to abandon all our what we call principles and all precautions to the winds and say that I have forgotten everything. We have to remember our history, what's gone into it, what's the wrongs that is done, and perhaps in future that can be done also. We have to be careful, we have to be prudent. At the same time, forgive him. If he is sincere, forgive him as much as possible, that he tries to put across to you that he needs forgiveness. My dear friends, I am very happy to address you. I wish you a very happy weekend, and especially a happy weekend in the family. Be with your families, eat together, sit together, talk together, enjoy together. May God be with you, especially in this week, this weekend, and this week that follows. Thank you.